If you want to learn how to be successful in any relationship in your life, then I highly recommend you watch the rest of this video. Relationships are hard work on the best of days, but they seem to have become even more increasingly difficult in the modern world. There are a bunch of different reasons for this. I'm sure you all know what they are. Social media isn't helping. If anything, if it's not used properly, it can add to a person's insecurities. It can create jealousy and conflict and trust issues between people. And this is not just in regards to relationships between a couple in a sexual or romantic way, but also in a family sense, in a friendship sense, in a work colleague sense. Any kind of relationship that you have with anyone in your life, you need to have the proper basis if you want it to be successful. So today I'm going to talk about the most important thing that is vital, that everybody needs if they want to be successful in any relationship at all, and that is to be happy alone. Now you're probably thinking, well, I didn't click on this video for somebody to tell me that, you know what, you probably should be okay with being on your own. That's not what I'm here for, right? But don't worry, there's a reason that I'm telling you this. And when I break it down for you, you will understand why this is the fundamental, and you need this before you can be happy inside a relationship. If you are happy on your own, you'll definitely be happy in a relationship. If you're not happy on your own, you're never going to be fully fulfilled in a relationship. And I'm going to break down for you why this is the case. So let's start from the top. People who are happy on their own, people who have a fulfilling life, who have hobbies that they enjoy doing, who have things that they're very passionate about in life, and maybe they like to write, maybe they like to read, maybe they like to travel, maybe you're an avid hiker, maybe you like to paint. Whatever it is that sets your soul on fire, you have a specific thing that makes you very, very happy. It could even just be your career. If you're passionate about what you do, then your life is going to be very fulfilled and full of happiness and joy. Now, when somebody who has a life like this goes into a relationship, they are not looking for somebody to complete them. And I know there's that old adage of somebody being half of another person and feeling complete when they're with another person, which is nice in a fluffy romantic sense, but in reality this is not what makes successful relationships. It's not about being a half to somebody else. It's about being a full whole person and meeting a full whole person. So when somebody is full and whole and they have an active and happy life and they feel like, yeah, I want to be in a relationship, yeah, I want to add to my social circle, yes, I want to add more people into my life, they're going to meet somebody and they're not going to feel like they need to be with this person in order for them to be happy. And this is the key here. People who are okay with being on their own because they know how to make themselves happy are never going to be fully dependent on somebody else for their happiness, and this is where their power comes from. Let me explain a little bit more. So when somebody is full and complete and they get into a relationship with somebody, and say for example, I'm sure you've been out there trying to make friends, trying to date, do all of that. That person is disrespectful to you. They're rude to you. They've shown that they're not trustworthy. Maybe they've cheated. Maybe they've cancelled on you one too many times. I've had friends like that who've cancelled on me one too many times. Somebody who is fulfilled and happy in their own selves, when somebody behaves like this with them, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna cut that person off. Or they're gonna put down a boundary. They're not gonna tolerate disrespect. They're not gonna tolerate bad behavior. And they're not gonna tolerate it on the basis that, you know what, if it doesn't work out and I put down this boundary and they decide to walk away and I never talk to this person again, then so be it. In fact, a lot of times what they do, they'll mentally prepare themselves knowing, you know what, this is probably not going to be nice for the other person to hear, but since you overstepped my boundary, I need to put this boundary down. Otherwise, I'm gonna have somebody walking all over me. And by doing this, not only are they gonna gain respect from another person, whether that person stays or not, they're also gonna have an overall more fulfilled relationship because they're gonna be able to control their emotions more. They're gonna be able to not feel as insecure. They're gonna be able to set down boundaries. And all of this is key in any kind of a successful relationship in any area of life, whether that be with your parents, your brother or your sister, whether that be with your lover, whoever it is. You need to have boundaries, you need to have emotional control, and you need to have respect. mutual, both ways. And people who are fulfilled and happy in life, they don't need another person to fulfill that happiness, so they're not going to hesitate to put down a boundary. If that person is missing, or they can't hang out with their best friend on the weekend, and they're going to find something else to do. If their boyfriend or girlfriend is not available, they're going to find somewhere else to go. They're not going to be like, oh, that person isn't available, oh my god, my week is ruined, what do I do with my life? They're not gonna do this. They're gonna find other ways to make themselves happy. If somebody cancels on them, they're gonna be like, okay, I'm annoyed. They're gonna put down a boundary so it doesn't happen again. And they're gonna find something else to do and fill their time with, instead of ruining their entire day because of somebody else's actions. But they will put down a boundary because they're not afraid to lose somebody. They're not afraid to walk away from somebody who has treated them badly. And this is the key here. This is what makes successful relationships. You must have boundaries. You must maintain emotional control. And how do people who are happy in life maintain emotional control? Well, they do it because when another person behaves in an inappropriate way or does something that crosses a boundary, the person who is happy and fulfilled and content in their life is not gonna necessarily turn around and scream and shout and yell, because they know that it's not gonna achieve anything. They're not heavily, massively invested to the point where if this person walks away, it's gonna be the end for them. So they're not gonna become as emotional. You're gonna be fine. You're not gonna be as annoyed. You're not gonna be as upset if they do something. Yeah, I'm not saying you're not gonna be upset at all. You definitely will be. But that level of upset, that level of annoyance is not gonna be there. You're gonna be like, okay, this person did something that's overstepped a boundary. But you know what? I'm not massively afraid of upsetting them, because at the end of the day, my happiness lies elsewhere. If this doesn't work out, I'm still gonna be fine. So your emotions are more in control because you're not afraid of losing this person. And I'm not trying to say be cold and don't give anybody, any kind of an emotional attachment. It's not about that. You can still be emotionally attached to somebody, but not have them rule your entire life. Not be so dependent on them that your entire happiness stems from them. When your entire happiness stems from one person, they have the power to make you very happy and very sad, depending on what they do. This is why it's so important that you find alternative ways of making yourself happy. So when somebody behaves in a way that is not good for you, or behaves in a way that is disrespectful or bad to you, you're okay. You're gonna be fine if they're not there, or if you do something, you're not gonna be too afraid to upset them. You know that you'll be fine even if they're upset, like they'll get over it. You're not too afraid to do something because you're afraid it might damage the relationship and push them away from you. If that's what happens because you put your dignity and your self-respect first, then that's what happens. That's always gonna come first to you. Okay, so the second scenario, which I'm sure a lot of people I can actually relate with if they're very honest with themselves. And when I am saying, yeah, you do have a fulfilled life and you do have a full life, it doesn't mean that necessarily everybody who has a good career and lots of friends and hobby is gonna be happy and fulfilled. That's not how it goes. Happy and fulfillment comes from the inside. And that's something that we need to constantly work on. There's a lot of people out there that have all of these things, job, nice house, nice car, friends, all of the rest of it. But when it comes down to being happy, they feel like they need another person, or if they don't have that, then none of these other things mean anything, and they're not gonna be 100% fulfilled. So if you're very honest with yourself, even if you have all of these things, are you genuinely happy without, a romantic partner or somebody else in your life that fulfills you? If that other person was to go away, or if you are not currently with somebody else, are you gonna break down? Are you gonna feel like it's the end of the world? Are you not gonna be able to function properly? Do you feel like it's better to be in a relationship with somebody who mistreats you, somebody who is rude, disrespectful, maybe abusive, angry? Do you think it's better to be with this person than to be alone? If your answer to all these questions is yes, then you're never ever going to be happy inside a relationship either. In fact, you're probably never going to be happy, period. You're going to have moments where, you have a nice time, and then you're going to be mostly full of anxiety and constantly trying to find fulfillment in something. And the reason is because this other person holds the key to your happiness. They hold the key to your mood, your behavior, how you feel that day. They have the power to make you feel happy and to make you feel sad. And this happens when you're not happy with being by yourself. You are very dependent on another person, and you put that person before you put yourself. And again, I'm not talking about being selfish here. You can be selfless, but also have boundaries where you don't let somebody walk all over you. And this is very, very important. So say for example, somebody falls into category B and you're not okay with being on your own. When you're with somebody in a relationship, you might think, oh, it's better to be in this relationship than to be alone. But that person, all they're gonna do is they're gonna know, you know what, this person is too afraid to lose me. So I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to take them for granted. I'm gonna walk all over them. I'm going to be abusive if I want to. I'm gonna take the time for granted, take them for granted, use them, and maybe leave them. And this is not just in a romantic sense, this is in any relationship in life. It could be, like I said before, your parents, it could be your siblings, it could be even your friends. A lot of friends will use and abuse somebody if they feel like this person really needs them, really cares about them, and is never going to leave, and never puts down any boundaries when they overstep a boundary that they know they shouldn't. And everybody knows common etiquettes like don't waste somebody's time, don't cancel last minute on a regular basis, don't cheat, don't gossip, don't backbite, don't do any of these things. And if they're doing these things and you are not putting down any boundaries, they're gonna feel like they can maybe take the next step and screw you over even more. So all you're doing is you're leaving an open invitation to be walked all over. So are you truly gonna be happy inside a relationship if you are not happy on your own? The answer is no, you're never gonna be happy. And a lot of people struggle with this because a lot of people have not been single for long enough, or they've not been alone long enough, or they've always had somebody in their life where they've needed to depend on that person. And when they then find themselves in a situation for a couple of months or whenever, or even a year where they're on their own, they panic. And they jump from one person to another, in one relationship to another, from one friendship to another, because they feel like the only way they're going to be fully content is if they have somebody there. So you're constantly full of anxiety, you're never truly happy, you're constantly looking for fulfillment and validation from outside instead of from within inside. So I get that it's very difficult for some people to be alone. I completely understand that. But you have to understand that if you are not okay with being by yourself, you're never going to be fully happy inside a relationship. And that's kind of why you're here anyway, isn't it? You're watching this video because you're not fully happy, or you haven't been happy in the past and you want to change it. So what I would say to you is definitely carve out time for yourself. Even if you're in a relationship, it's not about, being the other half to somebody's whole. You need to be complete as a person, and then the other person just adds another area to your life. So it's like getting a hot chocolate, but you have marshmallows and cream and sprinkles on top. You don't need it, but it's nice if you have it. It's, it's a nice little treat. Well, it's the same thing with having a relationship of any kind. It's nice to have it, but you should be okay on your own. And I'm not saying isolate yourself. This is another thing. I'm definitely not saying isolate yourself. I'm saying you should be okay by yourself, and then you'll be okay with other people. So I'm definitely not saying isolate yourself. What I'm saying is work on this aspect of being alone, and then when you're with a person, you're gonna be so much more fulfilled and happy, and you're gonna be able to maintain longer, stronger relationships. And a lot of people often ask me, how can I do this? How can I be more happy on my own? I've been in relationships most of my life. I've been dependent on other people most of my life. I've never really done the alone thing. Well, you have to force yourself. You have to face your fear, because it's the only way. If you want to grow, if you want to develop, you have to learn to be more disciplined. And I have a video on that, which I will link just here above me. When you face your fears, you will automatically get that growth. You will automatically get that change that you're looking for. If you're never going to step outside your comfort zone, if you're always going to feel like it might be the end of the world if you do, then you're always going to struggle. You're never going to move forward, and you're always going to be going around in a circle. So you need to have a very honest conversation with yourself. Are you actually doing enough? Are you actually making the changes? Are you actually being practical? If you're not, and you're just sitting around waiting for things to change without actually taking any practical steps, then you only have yourself to blame, unfortunately. You have to put in practical steps and just start small. So if you are not comfortable with doing the alone thing, how about you start very, very small? So say for example, you're married and you and your partner spend a lot of time together, and you don't really go out unless you both go out on the weekend, or you both have time off from work, and you only really spend your free time with each other. And I'm sure a lot of people know this, especially when their friends and their family get married. These people usually disappear off the face of the planet, and this is not healthy for anybody. you need to maintain social circles outside of your partner or this one main person that you've latched yourself onto, whether that's a friend or whoever it is. You need to have people outside of this person and hobbies outside of this person that is going to bring you fulfillment when they're not there. So say for example, like I was saying before, you have a partner and you only really spend your free time when you both are available to go out. And if they're not going out, you're not really going out. Well, maybe start doing one night a week. One night, couple of hours. Go and grab a coffee by yourself. Go to a cafe, grab a coffee, sit down and drink some coffee and read a book by yourself. Go to that stand-up comedian night that you've always really wanted to go to. 2 hours. Go to that book club that you've always wanted to join. Go and join that five-side team that you've always wanted to be a part of. Take small steps. And this is what's going to help you to eventually bring yourself to a stage where you feel like you're independent enough, where you don't really need to rely on the other person. These small things are less scary because you're taking it in small steps. You're not having to leave the other person completely. You're not having to start over again and be by yourself completely. You're taking a small step. You're just going out by yourself for a little bit and you're spending time for yourself, and then maybe increase it to 2 times a week. Maybe go out with your friends at work. Start building yourself back up again so you have hobbies, a life, and passions outside of the main person that is in your life that you feel wholly dependent on. And this is what's going to make your actual relationship with them very, very successful. Because they're gonna see that, oh my God, this person, wow, they're a different person. They're busy, they're active, I miss them, where have they been? You have things to talk about. And because you're okay with being by yourself, when you find yourself in a situation where they are not being nice to you or something has happened and they've been disrespectful, you're just gonna be like, you know what? Allow this. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go and have my coffee and read my book instead of listening to this rubbish. If maybe they're having an argument with you or something like that. You're just gonna go out and you're gonna make time for yourself instead of being there and being in a situation that's toxic. And slowly, this will build your courage to put down boundaries, to maybe even leave somebody, to stop, cut that person out of your life, that one friend who always cancels. And I've had this one friend who always cancels, but because I didn't have enough of a social circle, because I didn't have hobbies outside of this one friend, when they used to cancel, I used to feel gutted. Well, you know what? If you feel like you have other things that you could be doing, there's other friends that you could be meeting, there's other places that you could be that are gonna make you happy, and you're okay with being alone, this other friend is not gonna have that power over you anymore. So if they cancel on you, you're gonna be like, you know what, boo-boo, you're gonna cancel on me again, that's it, we're done. And you shift them from being friend into acquaintance. And this is what people need to learn to do. They need to learn to be okay with being on their own so they can be better when they're with others. And you're gonna get a lot more respect from people if you behave this way, if you're more, and it's gonna build on your confidence. It's gonna make you a happy, more whole person holistically. So I highly recommend this. And if you've made it to the end of this video, then please do like and subscribe to the Mind Counsel channel. I will be bringing you more videos. If you have any suggestions on a video, on a topic that you would like to see me do, then please post it in the comments below.